The drawing was of a woman I'd never seen until she showed up in my dreams. It wasn't the crude crayon sketch itself that rattled me. It was the detail, the eyes, the intention. My 6-year-old son, Theo, slid the picture across the kitchen table like it was no big deal. He bit into his waffle while I stared at the woman on the page. Long dark hair, a mole under her left eye, and a pink sweater with what looked like a sun pendant. "Who's this, buddy?" I asked, keeping my voice casual. He shrugged. "She was in the hallway when I went to Daddy's." "What hallway?" He licked syrup from his fingers. "The one near the back room. She told me not to tell you she was there." I felt my stomach bottom out. I hadn't been invited to Mark's new place yet, but we'd agreed on transparency when we split. That meant no surprises, especially not women who told our child to keep secrets. I reached for my phone, snapped a photo of the drawing, and texted Mark. "Who the fuck is this woman our son just drew?" He didn't reply, but 5 minutes later, my phone rang. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail. It was his voice, only not live, not angry, archived. From last year. I must have forgotten to delete it. His voice crackled through the speaker. "If she finds out, we're screwed. I'm telling you, keep the kid away from my place that weekend. Just say he's sick. I'll handle it." My skin prickled. I hadn't heard that message in months. Why was it playing now? On its own? I looked at Theo, who was now coloring a spaceship. "Hey, when you saw the lady, what did Daddy do?" He didn't look up. "He said I should forget it." The microwave clock blinked 11:11. That night, I couldn't sleep. My bedroom light flickered and dimmed as I scrolled through Theo's school tablet, wondering if there were more drawings, more clues. One stood out. 3 stick figures, him, Mark, and a woman. Above them, a cloud with a red X through it. I flipped the tablet shut. I needed to know the truth. 2 days later, I asked Mark to meet me at the playground near Theo's school. He looked disheveled, unshaved, sunglasses even though it was overcast. I showed him the drawing. He blinked. "It's a kid's doodle." She told him not to tell me. He remembered. Mark rubbed his jaw. "You think I'm putting women in front of her kid?" "I think you always put yourself first, and I think you're lying." He didn't deny it. He just said, "I gotta go," and left without saying bye to Theo. That night, the same woman appeared in my dream, but this time she was in my house. She stood in the hallway between the bathroom and Theo's room. The light from his nightlight made her eyes look wet. She raised one finger to her lips, then pointed to the kitchen. I woke up with a scream caught in my throat, rushed downstairs. The front door was locked. Everything was normal. Until I checked the hallway. Theo's tablet sat outside his door. On the screen was a photo. Blurry, dim, taken from low height, like from a child's hand. It showed Mark, sleeping, next to the woman in the drawing. Theo had taken the photo and sent it somewhere, or someone had, because the airdrop history said 1 photo sent, Sunshine 22. I didn't know who Sunshine 22 was, but someone had the photo now. And if that was real, then what the hell else was?
I tried to convince myself the airdrop was a glitch, some random Wi-Fi ghost, a tech hiccup, anything but what it looked like. But the name Sunshine_22 wasn't random. Tio had drawn the woman in a sun necklace. Coincidence or breadcrumb? The next morning, I checked the photo again. The metadata listed the exact time it was taken, 2:42 a.m. 2 nights ago. That was a night Mark claimed he was too exhausted for his usual FaceTime with Tio. Said he had a migraine. Migraine my ass. I needed answers, and there was only one way to get them: bait. I told Mark Tio had a fever and wouldn't make it to his place that weekend. He didn't argue. Just texted, "Fine, hope he feels better." No questions, no offer to drop off soup, no fatherly concern. So I set up my decoy. Tio was with my mom that weekend, but I told Mark he was staying with me. Then I parked across from Mark's duplex in a borrowed sedan, burner phone in hand, and pet cam app open. I'd planted the cam in Tio's backpack a week earlier after the hallway woman incident. I'd hoped I'd never need to use it. But now it was live streaming Mark's living room. At 9:07 p.m., she walked in. Her. The same woman from the sketch. Same pendant, same long dark hair pulled into a low braid. She dropped her purse, kicked off her shoes like she'd done it 1,000 times, and opened the fridge. She pulled out wine, poured 2 glasses, and sat. A minute later, March came out in sweats, kissed her, and handed her a plate of food. Not chemo sick, not even hiding it. That was when she said it. Loud, clear, right into the mic I hadn't turned off. "You think his ex knows yet that you told Tio to lie?" Mark grinned, chewing. "She's busy being paranoid. It's what she does." She laughed. "Let me guess. She dreamed of me?" He smirked. "Something like that." She raised her glass. "To gaslighting and getting away with it." They toasted. I nearly threw up. I hit record. My hands were shaking so badly that I dropped the burner zone in the car's footwell. When I reached down to grab it, my knee hit the horn. They both looked up. Mark stepped outside within 20 seconds, scanning the street. But I was long gone. I didn't go home. I went to the one person who'd always had my back, my sister Nicole. We watched the footage together. She didn't say a word until the toast. Then she whispered, "This is war." That night, Nicole posted a story from her private burner Instagram, a simple caption: "Lying through your teeth while someone else records." Attached, a short clip, muted, cropped only to the toast. No names, no context, just a smug couple clinking wine glasses. By morning, the video had over 8,000 views and one anonymous comment that stopped me cold. "That's my roommate. I thought she was seeing someone named Chris." I messaged back immediately, "Who's Chris?" The reply came within minutes. "Some guy she's been messing with. She told me she was going to blow up his ex's life for cheating on her years ago. Said she was going to ruin his family one brick at a time." So it wasn't even about Mark. She wasn't his girlfriend. She was his accomplice. I messaged again, "What's her real name?" No answer. Instead, I got a notification from Tio's school. An email from the guidance counselor. Subject line: "Concern. Recent parent incident." I opened it, heart pounding. "Hi, this is Miss Kwan from Westbridge Elementary. Tio mentioned something concerning to his teacher today. He said, 'The lady with the necklace told me to pretend I didn't see anything, but she told me she would be my new mommy soon. We'd like to discuss this further.'" My breath caught. New mommy. She was grooming him, replacing me, brick by brick.
I drove to Theo's school like my tires were on fire.
When I got there, Miss Kwan met me with a look I hadn't seen since my own mother found out my prom date was a 24-year-old community college dropout. Concern, wrapped in judgment. We sat in the counselor's office. Me, Miss Kwan, and Theo's teacher, Mr. Delgado. On the table between us was a notebook I didn't recognize. It was Theo's. The cover had "Top Secret" written in thick green crayon. Miss Kwan opened it. Page 1, a drawing of our family. Me, Theo, and a stick figure labeled Daddy. But beside Daddy was another woman, this one with a giant heart around her. Underneath, in messy scrawl, "This is the lady who said don't tell Mommy." Mr. Delgado flipped the page. Page 2 had something that made my mouth go dry. A speech bubble. The lady was talking. "Your mommy lies all the time. She's sick, but I can make Daddy happy." Miss Kwan placed her hand gently on mine. "We're mandated to report manipulative behavior toward children, especially if it's coming from a non-custodial adult, and especially," she paused, "if it's being orchestrated by someone in a romantic capacity." I blinked. "She's not his girlfriend. She's a parasite, a shadow." I showed them the video, the toast, the line about gaslighting. Miss Kwan's eyes widened. Mr. Delgado muttered, "Jesus." But that wasn't even the worst part, because after I left the school, I checked my voicemail. An old one had been marked new. Weird. I hadn't used that inbox in months. I played it. At first, just background noise. Then Mark's voice, speaking low. "I don't want to do this anymore." A pause. Then hers. "You owe me. You said you'd protect me." His whisper, urgent. "She's already suspicious. If she finds out you've been using Theo..." Static. Shuffle. "She won't, unless you screw this up, unless you start slipping." I recognized that recording, not because I'd heard it before, but because I remembered seeing it in a dream. That exact exchange. I dreamed it a week before the sketch, before the toast. A dream I dismissed as stress. Now it was real. I checked the timestamp. 11:42 p.m., 5 weeks ago. Mark never said a word. I called him, straight to voicemail. I texted, "We need to talk, now." 3 dots appeared, then vanished. He finally replied, "I'm at work, can this wait?" I wrote back, "Not unless you want your burner posted to the school board." He replied instantly, "What burner?" That told me everything. He didn't know she recorded their conversations, didn't know I had them. Which meant she was watching both of us. From her own phone. From her own vault. I drove straight to Nicole's. I needed backup. She was waiting on the porch, arms crossed and holding a tablet. She didn't say hi, just, "You might want to sit down for this." She hit play. The footage was from Theo's backpack. Again, different night, different angle. But the woman, Sunshine 22, was crouched in front of him. She whispered to him, "I know it's confusing, but your real mommy is sick. Your daddy told me. That's why I'm here, to help you." Theo stared, expression blank. She stroked his hair. "Soon we'll all live together, just like you dreamed." That's when it hit me. She read his dream journal. Theo has vivid dreams. I let him write them down. It's how we help him process his fears, how we track his fears. And she was using them, weaponizing them. Nicole hit pause. "We need to expose her, but smart. No drama, just precision." I nodded. "I already know how." We let her narrate her own downfall. I created a new account that night, not under my name, not even under a name at all, just a string of numbers. No profile picture, no bio, just a digital ghost with one purpose: to make Sunshine 22 talk. Nicole helped me script the first message. We kept it casual, innocuous, like a curious stranger who'd seen one of her photos on a spiritual parenting forum and wanted guidance. Her reply came within minutes. "Welcome, sweet soul. You're safe here." I stared at the screen, my stomach twisted. Nicole whispered beside me, "She's fishing. Let her think she caught you." So we did. We told her we were struggling with our stepson, that he kept talking about dreams where a woman replaced his mother, that we thought his real mom was emotionally unstable, and like a moth to flame, Sunshine 22 offered help. Over the next 2 days, she messaged constantly, voice notes, spiritual affirmations, and then the jackpot. "Your story's just like mine. He told me his wife was sick, too. That's why he brought me in to help raise their son." I played it again. "He told me his wife was sick, too." Nicole's jaw clenched. "That's it. That's your confession." But I wasn't done yet. I dug into her account metadata, buried under post filters and deleted history, and found something strange. A pinned location on a series of old healing ceremony posts. Same park, same time, repeated for 6 Tuesdays. I checked Mark's calendar. Tuesday evenings were always blocked out for therapy. I thought it meant our therapy, but I suddenly realized he hadn't attended half our sessions in person. He'd always said he was doing individual work while I had my one-on-ones. But he wasn't going to therapy. He was meeting her. I checked shared location history. One entry stood out. 2 weeks ago, 7:03 p.m., Mark's dot overlapped perfectly with hers. I stared at it until my vision blurred. Nicole whispered beside me, "You want to bring this to the lawyer now?" But I had something else in mind. First, I waited for Theo's next weekend with Mark. Then, while they were gone, I slipped a new burner phone into his favorite plushie, one with a time-triggered recording app and unlimited cloud backup. 2 days later, when he was back, I retrieved it and hit download. The file was short, just 2 minutes. But what it captured made my blood run cold. Mark was humming while doing dishes. Sunshine 22 was pacing behind him. "She's watching me. I know she is. I saw the camera angle change." "You're being paranoid." "No, it's her. I feel her." A drawer slammed. "You said this would be clean. I warned you about her." "Just calm down." Mark's voice, lower. "You think she'll just give up custody? You think she's going to watch us walk away with her kid and not fight back?" Mark didn't answer. I hit pause. Nicole whispered beside me, "They're planning something." But I was already thinking one step ahead. If they wanted to turn Theo against me, they'd need leverage. Something twisted? So I gave them exactly what they wanted. I posted a private story on my mom account, visible to only one person, Sunshine 22. The caption, "Finally accepting what I always suspected. Maybe I'm not fit to raise him after all." She took the beat instantly. 30 minutes later, she DM'd Nicole's burner account, the one she thought was mine. "It hits her. I think we should talk in person for Theo's sake." I agreed, and I brought Nicole. We met her in a sunlit cafe near the river. She was dressed in white, like a prophet descending from a mountaintop. And when she opened her purse to reveal a folder labeled Therapeutic Custody Adjustment Plan, I knew. They were trying to take him. Her smile was serene until I hit play on my phone and played her own words back to her.
Your story's just like mine. He told me his wife was sick, too. She froze, then hissed, You don't understand what he told me. Nicole leaned in, deadly calm. We do, because we have the rest of the tapes, too. She stood. This is harassment, but I smiled. Not harassment, evidence. And guess what else we found? I reached into my bag and laid it gently on the table. Theo's dream journal. The one she'd quoted from in her messages. You don't just lie, you steal dreams. Her hand trembled, and that's when Nicole hit send. Every message, every voice note, every location glitch uploaded to a private link forwarded to Mark's HR department and the court-appointed therapist. This wasn't just about cheating anymore. This was about parental manipulation, mental health sabotage, and attempted custody fraud. And the real twist? We weren't even done yet, because Sunshine 22 wasn't her only name, and Mark's burner wasn't the only one I'd cracked.
The second burner was hidden deeper, not in a drawer or glove box, but in Theo's tablet, an old iPad we only used for educational apps, strictly kid content. But when Nicole ran a scan through a backdoor parental control plugin, something strange lit up. A hidden vault app, masked to look like a math game. Inside, hundreds of images. Screenshots of my text messages, pictures of our house, my closet, my prescriptions. One photo stopped my breath. Me, sleeping. Taken from the bedroom doorway. The metadata? Time-stamped from when Theo was with Mark. My mouth went dry. Nicole zoomed in on the reflection in the window behind me. A silhouette. Feminine. Holding the phone. Sunshine 22 had been in my home. While I slept. Nicole's voice was steel. She planted this vault. She's been tracking you from inside his parenting time. I couldn't breathe. The last thread of plausible deniability snapped. They weren't just having an affair. They were documenting me. Like a case study. Or a dossier. For court? For custody? For something worse? And I knew what I had to do. I didn't call the police. I called Mark. I told him Theo had a fever, that he needed to come by, that he should come alone. When he arrived, I handed him a printed sheet of the photos, I said. Theo found these on the tablet you gave him. He stared, expression unreadable. I don't know what that is, he said flatly. So I slid him another page. The therapy timestamps, his location, her voice notes. I made some connections. I also made backups. Still, he didn't flinch. But when I showed him the dream journal page with Theo's own words about the glowing lady who whispers when daddy's asleep, he cracked. You're sick, turning his imagination into a weapon, he snapped. I leaned forward. I'm not the one who coached him, who let her into our home, who told a 7-year-old to keep secrets about who was actually there. Mark stood, knuckles white on the table. You think you can play detective and win custody at this? You're delusional. I smiled. I'm not trying to win. I'm just documenting. He froze. You want to manipulate systems? Let's both get messy. Let's both go to court. Let's both explain why your girlfriend has burner apps inside a child's device. He said nothing. And then, to my complete astonishment, he laughed. But it wasn't cruel. It was tired, almost broken.
"You don't get it," he muttered. "She's not just some fling." "Oh, I know. She's your twin flame, right?" His eyes snapped up. He hadn't told me that. But she had. Sunshine 22 had sent Nicole's burner account long, unhinged monologues about destiny, spiritual contract, and a past life connection stronger than any legal marriage. You told her I was dying so she could replace me guilt-free. He blinked, but didn't deny it. "I needed peace," he said quietly. I stared. "Peace?" Mark rubbed his eyes. "You were always in pain, always crying, always scared. I didn't know how to help you. So you let her move in during therapy? He healed him. Theo felt safe around her. And I didn't?" Silence. I felt my stomach turn. Then he added, too quietly, "You were too intense, too angry." I didn't hit him, but I did press play on the voicemail I'd saved for this moment. Theo's voice, innocent, half asleep. "Daddy said if I don't tell you about the dream lady, I get extra time at her house." He paled. "You recorded him." "No," I said. "He left me a voicemail when he missed me. You forgot to delete it from the iPad." I handed him the transcript. He didn't read it. Just walked out. And didn't take anything with him. I stood in that kitchen for a long time, shaking, wondering what came next, wondering if court would even matter now that the lines had blurred beyond repair. That night, Nicole called me. "Are you okay?" "No." "Good," she said. "Stay there, we're not done." And we weren't. Because the next morning, Mark showed up at my door without knocking, with Theo behind him. And behind Theo was her, standing in the street, in a white dress, holding a single piece of paper. I stepped outside. "What is this?" I asked. Sunshine 22 smiled, that same serene cult leader grin. "It's time," she said softly. "He's made his decision." I took the paper. I unfolded it. And I read the first sentence. "This is a formal declaration of parental transition." My vision went red. And Nicole, she was already behind me, filming everything.
Nicole kept filming. Steady hands, sharp focus, while I lost mine. "What the fuck is this?" I hissed, waving the paper at Mark. He didn't answer. Theo stood between us, clutching his backpack like a parachute. He looked up at me confused, then at her, the white-dressed phantom at the curb. Sunshine 22 stepped forward like she was gliding. "It's not a custody document," she said gently. "It's an energetic contract. Theo's soul has chosen." I swear to God, I almost threw up on the lawn. Mark still said nothing, just stared down at his shoes like a kid caught cheating on a test. Nicole stepped beside me. She shows up with a burner phone, a spiritual pamphlet, and you just let her reassign parenthood? "It's not about law," Sunshine said sweetly. "It's about alignment, vibration, ascension." My throat tightened. My hands trembled, but I couldn't look away. Theo turned to me and whispered, "Do I have to pick?" I dropped to my knees, hugged him tight. "You don't pick, baby. You never have to pick between people who love you." But Sunshine crouched down too. "Sometimes picking is how we grow," she said to him.
Nicole moved like a knife. She stepped between them, blocking the woman's gaze. "No, you don't speak to him." Sunshine blinked slowly, like we were all speaking another language. "You're very wounded," she murmured. "Oh, I am," Nicole said, flipping the camera to selfie mode. "And your ass just walked into my documentary." Mark finally opened his mouth. "She's not trying to take him away. She just understands him." I laughed. Loud, high, manic. "You mean she manipulates him? She fakes visions and dreams and feeds them to a child like bedtime stories." "She's intuitive, not manipulative. She installed spyware on a kid's tablet." He flinched. Nicole reached into her bag, pulled out a manila folder, and tossed it at Mark's feet. Inside what? The forensic report on the Vault app. Time-stamped, GPS tagged, and linked directly to an IP address originating from Sunshine's wellness studio. She was building a case to paint you as a savior and me as a threat. Sunshine turned to Mark. "She's trying to confuse you again." Nicole smirked. "Project harder." But then she said something that made my blood freeze. She told Theo that if he didn't tell me about their time together, Daddy's next baby wouldn't be born sick. The street went silent. Even birds seemed to pause mid-flight. Mark's lips parted, stunned. "What?" "She told him you were having a new baby with her. And if he kept secrets, that baby would come out healthy, unlike you." I couldn't process it, not all at once. Not until Theo tugged my sleeve and whispered, "Is that why you got cancer?" It was like being hit by a truck from the inside. "No, baby, no. That's not how anything works." I looked up, fury like I'd never known before, clawing through my chest. "You made my son afraid of me," I said to Sunshine. She didn't answer. She just smiled again, tilted her head like I was a lost child who didn't get the cosmic joke. I reached into my pocket, pulled out the burner, and I played the last voicemail. "Tell her she's her new mommy now, but don't say it in front of the sick lady, okay? That'll make her sad." Sunshine's voice, crystal clear. Theo flinched, Mark blanched. And Nicole? Nicole turned the camera straight on her. "Want to try your intuition now, bitch?" She lunged, not fast, not violent, but desperate. But Nicole was faster. She stepped forward, hand extended, and slapped the woman across the cheek. A clean, ringing sound in the middle of our sunny suburban street. Theo gasped, and I saw it. That flicker. The mask dropped. Just for a second, Sunshine's face twisted. Not into pain, but rage. The kind of rage you only see in cult leaders when someone breaks the trance. Nicole leaned in Zoe, whispering so only she could hear. "We see you now." And then she turned to me. "Call CPS. Today." But Mark was backing away. No, please. This wasn't what she said." He tripped over the curb, nearly fell, caught himself, panicked. "She said I'd lose everything if I didn't listen. She said you'd die if I..." She was right, but not about me. Nicole handed me her phone, already dialing. Time to burn it down. And just before I hit call, Theo looked at me. She lied, he said. I nodded. Yes, baby. But then he added, she said she was you once, before you forgot. And suddenly the voicemail made sense, because she wasn't just trying to be his new mom. She thought she already was.
When the CPS agent called back that night, Nicole was already editing the footage. It was surreal. Sitting there in my kitchen with her laptop open, frame by frame, free-stopping my breakdown like it was raw material for a documentary. My face, mid-tears, sunshine smile cracking when the slap landed, Mark shrinking in the background like a ghost dissolving. Theo was asleep upstairs, or so I thought. "Do you want to narrate this in your own words?" Nicole asked gently. "Or do I cut it straight from the voicemail?" I didn't answer. I couldn't. My hands were still trembling from Theo's last sentence. "She said she was you once, before you forgot." Those exact words had come up before, in the dream. The same dream I kept having on and off for months, where I was sitting across from a woman at a table and she kept whispering, "You left the door open. I came in." That night, I replayed everything. Every offhand comment, every moment I'd gaslit myself into silence. Sunshine 22 knew things about me she should never have known. Like the name of my high school. Like the poem I wrote in 9th grade that I only ever posted on a locked live journal. Like the fact I miscarried once, before Theo, something even Mark didn't know. The shared location glitch suddenly made sense. I'd blamed Theo or Mark or my own clumsiness for the tracker sharing to Sunshine's number, but it wasn't random. She had logged into my iCloud. She hadn't hacked me, she'd become me. She froze the screen on a frame. Sunshine, standing outside our house, watching the living room window. "There's another layer here," she said. "You see it, right?" I nodded slowly. It's not just a mistress. It's not just a cult. She didn't want Mark. She wanted my life. She clicked again, opened a new tab, and typed reverse image search. She uploaded Sunshine's LinkedIn profile pic. Seconds later, bingo! The same face, slightly younger, with dark brown hair and different glasses in a college directory under a different name, Rebecca Lawton. Then we found an old Reddit post under that name. How do you become someone else completely if the original isn't dead yet? Nicole stared at me. "Do you know this girl?" I shook my head, but something in my stomach twisted. Another search, another thread. An old Tumblr reblog I recognized because it was mine. She'd followed me years ago. She'd reblogged my posts, copied my phrasing, left anonymous notes saying, "I feel I am you, just in the wrong timeline." She wasn't just watching me. She was rehearsing. I bolted upright. "Where's the Theo's baby book?" Nicole looked confused. "What?" I ran upstairs, tore through the drawers, found it. His baby book, the one I kept on a high shelf, locked drawer. Only I had the key. Except now, it wasn't mine. The handwriting inside had changed. All the notes, memories, milestones, rewritten, still about Theo, but signed M, not me. Then I heard the creak. Theo. In the hallway. He was holding something. A small velvet box. I knelt down. "Where did you get that?" "She said it's for you. She said you know what to do with it." I opened the box. Inside was a locket. One I used to own, but had thrown away years ago. I remembered it clearly. The clasp had broken. I tossed it during chemo. But here it was. Polished, repaired. Inside, a photo. Not of me and Theo. Of her and Theo.
as if the last 5 years had been hers, not mine. I stood up. We're leaving tonight. Nicole didn't argue. She started packing. But then my phone buzzed. Blocked number. I answered. Hello? It was her voice. Soft. Echoey. You can run, but you can't rewrite destiny. I hung up. 2 hours later, we checked into a hotel 3 towns over. Nicole had filed the footage with 3 different journalists by then, but none of it mattered, because at 2:34 a.m., my hotel room phone rang. Not my cell, the landline. I picked it up, hand shaking. Hello? A child's voice. Theo's. Mommy? I ran to the bed. He was gone. I screamed. Nicole bolted from her room. We tore through the hallways down to the front desk. Nothing. Until the clerk said, a woman with shoulder-length blonde hair signed him out, said she was his aunt. I collapsed. Nicole pulled me back up. She can't just take him. But she had. I opened my phone. Era dropped photos from an unknown iPhone. 1, 2, 3. Theo, sitting in the back seat of a car, smiling. In the mirror, sunshine, wearing my shirt, captioned with 4 words. You left the door open. And suddenly I knew. The dream wasn't a warning, it was a memory.